What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see. When the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host, BKP.
Hey folks, how are you today? I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Trying to adjust my audio a little bit. So, wow. You know, the last couple days, you can find our Substack. Our Substack is over on Substack. Go to Substack, Vora, V-O-R-A, BKP at BKP Politics, okay? At BKP Politics over our Substack. We're on X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, our website, voiceofruralamerica.com. I'm looking over here to the left. Don't want to get sidetracked. Now, the last couple of days we focused on the governor's race. I appreciate all the kind messages you have sent. In fact, I got a message this morning that our last two videos were very eye-opening. And I got a call out of the Georgia 2nd District that said we needed those out here because Rick Jackson is new on the scene. All right, so we have 2 full days, the last 2 Substacks. I think there's 2 different ones. They both start out the $1 billion pivot. All right, want to look right at the camera. Don't know Rick Jackson. Probably a very nice man. I'm open to meeting Mr. Jackson. I'm open to asking him all these questions that I've put out in the last 2 videos. Let him answer them. In a respectful way. So that door is open, has been, and will continue to be on those. But we're going to change, not the subject. We still have a couple. Yes, we do. We have a couple stories on the governor's race. Let me get this down here. Take this up here, right? Let's see. Let's go over here. What number is that? Now, this is important, something I've said for a long time. I've told you this for a long time. It was coming. I don't know if you know Larry Sabato. Larry Sabato with the Center for Politics. Is that what it's called? Let me get that up here, right? The Center for Politics, Sabato's Crystal Ball. And what you see there is Georgia is yellow. We're going to go into great detail on this in a minute. The crystal ball of gubernatorial ratings. And as you can see, yellow is toss-up. So they have moved. The Center for Politics has moved Georgia from lean, it was in the lean red, to toss-up. Now, Georgia's been moved, the governor's race, and I'm not saying this is something we can validate and, we trust everybody's analysis or numbers out there. But what I want you to get is this has been moved 2 months before we even get the nominees. We have the Republican and Democrat. They both have a lot of different candidates going at each other. We don't even have the nominee for each party going into the general, and it has been moved. The governor's race has been moved over to toss up. So I started looking around and thinking to myself, there's a lot still open on the governor's race we're going to talk about today. But someone sent me a message and said, you can't just say vote for anybody but and not give us some details. So I'm working on a lot of different stories. It's just myself here, and it's me, myself, and I, right? Is that how it goes? No one else is on the research department besides you out there. You are the research department. You send me stuff all the time. I appreciate that. But as far as my research, setting things up, and what my plans are in the course of a day, we have just let's put this up here really. We've only got a couple days left, and I need your help out there. If you have a bill or you see bills that are going through committee, because right now is when you have to pay attention, because it is Thursday. They're in committee today. No, I'm sorry. It's the 19th. It's the 34th day. They're not in committee till next Thursday. But let me just lay this out. This is the final month here for the 2027 Georgia congressional or Georgia legislative session. I've got congressional on the brain. You'll see why in just a minute. But here you go. This is the 19th. That's today. It's day 34, and tomorrow. Now, the 2 days you have to pay attention to is right now, but on the 24th, next Tuesday and next Thursday. Those are the sausage making days. Yes, that's where they get the tape out and the Elmer's glue. For you kids out there that don't know what Elmer's glue is, or a glue stick or whatever, and the Scotch tape and the whiteout, whatever. I'm just saying that's so 1970s, 80s, and 90s. But next Tuesday and Thursday on the 24th and 26th is where they start pushing bills together, get them into that last day of committee conference. That's the 27th and the 31st. And then Wednesday will be April 1st. And the second day will be the 40th day, as you can see there. I think I'm confusing myself. Right now you have to watch, because what they're doing is they're taking this bill from the House and this bill from the Senate, and they're putting a joint committee together, and they're taping this part in this sentence and this paragraph. Please pay attention for the next couple days. We've only got, today. We've only got, after today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days left. This is where they start pulling all of their stunts. So I said something, and I'm going to spend some time on this. And I don't know how much time I'm going to do in this series. And I'm going to do it in the congressional races in Georgia. Now, Georgia, we have 14, because right here, what you're going to see, we have 14 congressional races, or, wait a minute, slow down. I'm trying to look here, and talk to you at the same time. And in Georgia, we have 14 congressional districts, all right? And in 2010, our population growth was high enough to go from 13 to 14. Now, the top of the map, which you might not be able to see, where the 9th district, the green area, it used to go all across the top of the state. And the 14th was created, and that's where Tom Graves and then Marjorie Taylor Greene. But the 9th and the 14th, we're going to talk about that. When we get into 2030, there's a possibility that when the census is done, we may get 2 or at least 1 more district in Georgia. Where will it go? How will they carve out the 15th district in Georgia? And where will they carve it out? And if 2030 is controlled or the governor is a Democrat and we get a new district, where will that carve out be? There's a lot in the air. That's why I started out with our governor race in Georgia has moved to toss-up. Now, since 2005 in the state of Georgia, we have Republicans controlled governor, all right, state house majority, state senate majority since 2005. It is now 2026. You do the math. That's how long Republicans have had. Now, if the Georgia governor's mansion, because it's in toss-up, goes blue, and strategically there is a possibility to lose the state house majority, there is, and we go to 2030, and we have a census, and this state has turned blue, how will they carve up that 15th district? Just pay attention. Now, moving back this way, we have 5, and this is where I'm going to get arguments. We have 5 still very good conservative districts in Georgia. And that would be, and they're strong red, and that would be the 1st district. Though the 1st district is currently, okay, Buddy Carter is the congressman. Now, Buddy Carter is not the most conservative guy I've ever met, but he might be one of the nicest guys. I'm serious. Buddy Carter is a very nice man. He's pleasant when you run into him. So, but the 1st district is growing rapidly because that's where the new Hyundai plant is and some other plants. There's a lot of growth in that Savannah 1st district area. But the 1st district, solid red. This is, okay. Now, we go up to the 10th district, solid red. The 9th district, solid red. The 14th district, solid red. The 7th district, solid red. And the 11th district, solid red. Now, I don't want to go into the 3rd district or 8th at this time, but those are the ones right there. And what they're trying to do is make a total move right now on those districts. See, District 3 has Brian Jack, but, well, not District 7. I'm going to explain something of why I put that in there, because the top of Georgia, they have their first move, and that's 7. You have 7, 11, 9, and 14. Right on the top, I'm going to show you there, and then you have 1. So, let me go to the top of Georgia right here. And here is the 14th district over there. Boom. 9th, 11th, 7th, and 10th. Now, this is the 9th and the 14th especially, those two. The 11th and 7th, yes, and the 10th, but those are your strongest Republican votes, and I'm going to show you what they're trying to do to those districts as we speak, all right? So, let's go. I want to go with this one first because somebody said you have to stop telling us that vote for anybody but, and you don't give us a full explanation. So we're going to do that today. The first congressional district of Georgia. There it is on the screen. That's the first district. I'm encouraging you, and I'm going to show you why, and I'm going to show you a couple reasons why. Now, I'm not asking you to go vote for any particular candidate. I'm going to stay clear away from any particular candidate right now. But go vote for anyone other than Jim Kingston. And this is where we get in there. You have Patrick Farrell, is that his name? You have James Kingston, Brian Montgomery, Krista Penn, Candace Taylor, and Eugene Yu. So, like I said, for days I keep putting up, don't vote for Jim Kingston. Anyone else, I'm not getting involved. This is not an endorsement, but this is a, please don't let the first district go this direction. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Republicans. We want to keep it Republican. That's number one. We have asked you not to vote for Jim Kingston. Now, Jim seems like a nice young man. His dad was the congressman of the first district. Now, Jack Kingston at one time was considered a very strong conservative. All right? And this young man here, he started around politics, I think he was about 2 or 3 years old. Jack Kingston, his dad, was a congressman, I think the first district congressman for 22 years. That's when he lost running for Senate to David Perdue. And that's where Buddy Carter ran and won the first district. I do all this from right here. Interesting. But I can't keep track of what's going on in a movie. I promise you, I don't know. But right here, boom. So, Jack Kingston, Jim's father, we're going to show you why. This young man, I'm going to go with a nice young man and leave it there. But, not a conservative. And he's not running to be your representative in Washington, D.C. Not your representative. Don't vote for him. That's all there is to it. Again, I'm going to go into why. This guy started out, 2 years old. His dad's a congressman. So for 22 years of his life, all he knows, growing up his whole life, is the swamp, Washington, D.C. Now, maybe we can't blame this on him, but this is the ties and who he is. So he starts out 2, 3 years old. His dad's a congressman. All he knows is, back home in Georgia, Washington, D.C. I mean, he's a little kid. He's seeing his dad have dinners with the swamp, right? Maybe Jack Abramoff, maybe. You can check that name out later. But this is the way the kid grew up. The kid grew up riding a bicycle and, congressmen were having dinner and drinks in the living room. I don't know. That's how he grew up, in the swamp. All right? His name's not Amos Moses. His name's not Amos Moses, right? But he grew up in the swamp. So his whole life, sheltered. Now, I have a personal view on this for a reason. Because when his dad, Jack Kingston, ran for Senate, Karen Handel was in the race, and David Perdue ended up being the senator. But when his dad ran for Senate, this guy right here was the one that drove him all around the state. Jim Kingston drove his dad all around the state, I think in the family station wagon, but drove him all over the state and was his assistant in the Senate. So I met this young man several times. And I wrote an article, you can find it, when his dad was running for Congress, okay? I wrote an article running for Senate, and it was in the runoff, and it was David Perdue and, Jack Kingston in the runoff for Senate. And I wrote an article because I was thinking about it, and I wrote an article called Jack Was There. When? Jack was there, comma, when. Okay? And what the article was, it was a view of 22 years of Jack Kingston's career and all the things that had happened in Washington, D.C., maybe not with his involvement, or maybe he was not tied in any way whatsoever, but he was there when it took place. So I went through and I wrote this article based on 22 years of Jack Kingston's career, and I would bring something up that took place in Washington, D.C., and I would end that segment with, and Jack was there. When I wrote that article, it upset Jack Kingston. It did, because someone, we'll just say, took the article, put a little money behind it, and plastered it all over the state. We didn't do it. And this young man called me up, and he was very upset with me, and he was very angry. And he was very angry. I remember it like it was yesterday. I think at that time he might have been 22. I don't remember what his age. No, his dad was in Congress 22 years. But anyhow, and then I bumped into him at the next campaign event, and he wasn't very nice to me. So I'll just put it like that, all right? It's got nothing to do with why I'm telling you don't vote for him. I'm just telling you all the things they never got out of as a family. Now, he might say, if this segment gets to him, he might say, that's my dad, that's not me, that's not fair. Well, fair's a place you take a pig to win a blue ribbon, and once something's in your blood, it stays there, okay? So let's move on here. First district, because we're going to break all these districts down. And a true son of Southeast Georgia, this is his website, you can go through there, rooted in Georgia values. Now, I can't say he didn't grow up in Georgia, and I can't say he didn't go to school in Georgia, but rooted in Georgia values, he has a lot of mix with lobbyists, all right? You can go through his career. Now, a lot of people have said things about he moved to Atlanta, all right? I'm not even pulling that into this segment. But very close ties to lobbyists, the insurance industry, a true son of Southeast Georgia. This is the way he wants to make it look. Let's go here. Now, according to the most recent Federal Election Commission filing for 2026 election cycle, Jim Kingston has raised $1,617,000 for his campaign in Georgia congressional race. Now, I would say there's other PACs, political PACs, that have put money into this, all right, or is supporting him, or other groups. But let me just say this. He is already the chosen candidate out of that district for Washington, D.C. I mean, lobbyists and these groups, right from Mike Johnson, the House, fundraising. You see, they don't want you in D.C. if you cannot fundraise. If you don't know how it works, they don't want you there. So he is the chosen one for D.C., not for the 1st District of Georgia. No, not for what's best in Georgia. So let me go here. So Jack Kingston, his dad, this is where I'm going to get some pushback, but I don't care. Jack Kingston is a former Republican U.S. representative from Georgia who transitioned into a high-profile career as a lobbyist and political strategist after leaving Congress in 2015. So this guy's dad held this seat right here in Georgia for 22 years. Okay? Now, this guy, Jim Kingston, he's making a lot more money at his other job than the congressional paycheck. But he's running for this district because Buddy Carter's running for Senate. This is his dad we're talking about. He currently serves as a principal at Squire Patton Boggs, one of the largest and most influential lobbying firms in Washington, D.C. So they want him in Washington, D.C. They want Jim in D.C., right? And they want their congressman. This is all opinion from me that I'm pasting together that because I know how it works. So they want their congressman. They always want their congressman, these groups in D.C. So he's in the 1st District. 1st District is open. They want him there. One of the largest and most influential lobbying firms in Washington, D.C. Political career background. Before the lobbying career, Kingston was a fixture in Georgia politics for 3 decades. House of Representatives from 1993 to 2015. His leadership role, vice chair of the House Republican Conference. Now, when you're vice chair of the House Republican Conference, you are a fundraiser, okay? Now, Jim Jordan, that I like Jim Jordan from Ohio, but Jim Jordan, if you want to run for Congress, Jim Jordan and friends will test your mettle on fundraising and how well you can raise money. I would say every night of the week in Washington, D.C., Jim Jordan is at a function somewhere for the Republican House Conference raising money. Oh, yes, that's how it works. That's why they want Jim, Jack's son. They want Jim. He's a sharp young man, good-looking kid. I call him a good-looking kid. He is. Appropriations power. He was a senior member of the powerful House Appropriations Committee, and he ran for Senate. So let's move on from there. When you look, who is this right here? Who is this Squire Patton Boggs? Who are they? That Jim's dad. Who are they? Here they are. Now, when you go into their website, because everything I'm doing, you can do yourself. When you go into their website, you will find Jack. That's Jim's dad. I know I'm going to get pushback and say, this is just not fair. Well, I already told you what fair is, right? And it's the bottom line. I do not want to give up any district in Georgia. I'm a conservative, period. I want to dismantle the political machine. I want to dismantle the whole system of lobbyists and corruption. And I don't want to keep the flow, and I don't want it to get worse in Georgia by these districts being represented by lobbyist firms and not a representative themselves. I'm serious. So if you go in there, you find Jack. Jack is a principal. He's listed as one of the principals in this group. So you start to look. Who else is in this group? Now, I cannot pronounce this gentleman's name. But the Saudi royal family, he is in Riyadh. You can go look this up yourself. It's all on this website. He is in Riyadh. He is a partner in this group. You can see up in the corner the name of the group. He's a partner. Okay? Go here. Same website. Saudi royal family. This is a law firm in Saudi Arabia tied to the Saudi royal family. He is a partner. This guy's a partner. Just saying. Now, this group, Squire Patton Boggs, right? We are one of the world's largest and most influential law firms. We operate at the leading edges of law, business, and policy in over 40 countries across 4 continents. I'm like, what? Now, again, Saudi royal family law firm there. Saudi Arabia again. Right in the same website, he is listed as a principal, Jack Kingston. There it is right there. You can go look it up. This is Jim's dad. I keep saying over and over, you're going to get pushback. So Jim becomes a member of Congress, let's just say, looking down the road, speculating the future. What's his future like? He becomes a member of Congress, stays 3 terms, 6 years, 8 years. He's still a young guy, or maybe gets into his 50s. Then he leaves Congress and goes to a firm like this where he's a partner and he's a multi-millionaire, just saying. Now, Jack is a partner. Now, if you go back, right, Jack Kingston, a former Republican U.S. representative from Georgia who transitioned into a high-profile career as a lobbyist and political strategist. He currently serves as a principal at Squire Patton Boggs, one of the world's largest influential lobbying firms in Washington, D.C. That's his dad, former congressman of this district. For anyone out there that wants to get mad at me and say, well, that's not fair and that's not Jim, I'm telling you, in the 1st District, do not vote for Jim Kingston. All right? Do not allow this district right here to be overtaken and overrun by lobbyists. This is our chance in Georgia. This is what I'm talking about. This is going in to the 2026 cycle. In 2026, there's a possibility that we lose all of our conservative districts that we have left in Georgia. Now, it's not going to happen, but it's a possibility. And what I mean by that is even if we elect Republicans in these areas, you would still lose them because they're establishment, and I know I get in trouble. I know the people that already say, oh, that makes me so mad when you say establishment. So we're working on this, and this is the 1st District. And whatever you got to do out there, get to work. He's got the money. He is the chosen one. He's got the ties in D.C. The ties he have in D.C. has international ties, lobbyists galore. 1st District. Now, let's go back to this right here. See, here's the state districts, 14. Here's the top. There's the 14th, the 9th, and the 10th. All right? And we have the 7th and the 11th. Now, the 7th was carved out. Let me do that one just briefly because the 7th was it's called the new 7th. It was carved out right there. They took Lumpkin, Dawson, and Forsyth and North Fulton out to turn it into a red district. And when they did, they had to give a door prize to this guy here. This guy is not a conservative. In no ways whatsoever is he a conservative. And they gave the door prize. Well, where's he at? Right there. That's where that's Dr. Rich McCormick. This guy is not a conservative in my book. In my book, he's not a conservative. And a lot of rumors is he wants to run for Raphael Warnock's seat for Senate. But that is the 7th district. So in my book, in North Georgia, we've already lost one district to the establishment. Now, let's go one more because we're going to work on this for several days. Let's go to, right here's the top of it. Let's go to the 10th district. We'll leave the 10th district for now. Right there. Now the 10th district of Georgia, right? That seat is open. That seat was open, and it is Mike Collins. Mike Collins running for U.S. Senate. He stepped out of there. You know the story in the 10th district. The 10th district is Athens, Clark County. That's where the governors, plural governors, live, Brian and Marty Kemp. So they picked out their congressman to replace Mike Collins, and there was going to be a clean sailing over there. And if you want to talk about losing the 10th district, you know, we went from Jody Heiss. Now, we're not going to get into my thoughts as Mike Collins as a congressman, but the 10th district, that was Jody Heiss' district. And if you go in a Wayback Machine, the 10th district was Dr. Paul Brown in the Wayback. So way back, the 10th district, watch the evolution here. As districting changes and they keep drawing new lines, the 10th district in the Wayback Machine was Dr. Paul Brown. And then the 10th district went to, then you had Congressman Jody Heiss. Jody Heiss, a very conservative, he's just a great guy. I know former Congressman Heiss very well. He's just really a good guy. But remember, he stepped out to run for Secretary of State against Brad Raffensperger in 2022, which we thought was a lock. We'll get into that later. And this district went to Mike Collins, who is now running for U.S. Senate. So with that little bit of history, the 10th district was going, think about it, Paul Brown, Jody Heiss, Mike Collins. It was going to the swamp of the swamp. I mean, the real swamp dwellers, right? You can't make this up on the swamp dwellers. Right here, Houston Gaines. So House Representative Houston Gaines over there, I mean, that's Pretty Boy Gaines. So Pretty Boy Gaines, yes. Pretty Boy Gaines. I mean, I've never seen him admit he doesn't have a nice manicure. Just saying, right? Got a nice haircut. So he's got that trim. Got that nice trim. Yes, he's styling and profiling. Anyhow, so Pretty Boy Gaines over there, right? Houston Gaines, very tied to the Kemp family. Go look it up. For years, this was the chosen one to take the place of Mike Collins in the 10th district. You cannot give a district away to establishment. You're basically giving this district to Brian Kemp, right, to give it to Houston Gaines. But Houston ran into some difficulty. This guy right here decided he was going to run. Right here, Houston Gaines, clear sailing. Nobody's running but Houston. And then this guy right here. Now, Houston is very upset. Very upset. And this guy right here, Atlanta film executive. Now, the reason I cut the AJC out, because I do like the way the AJC, they don't like us. Period. Okay. They do not like you and I. Now they like Houston Gaines. Yes, they do. I can tell you people they like that call themselves Republican. That being said, provocative film executive enters Georgia House race with $4 million pledge. Provocative. This right here, this is Ryan Millsap. Now, I spoke to Mr. Millsap, and I have a lot of notes. I'm putting it together. I'm not going to go into great detail. Houston Gaines, the minute Mr. Millsap qualified to run, Houston Gaines came right out and attacked him, being from California. And coming to Georgia and bringing California values to Georgia. Now, according to him, he built a studio here, which employed a lot of people, and that's what Georgia politicians wanted him to come do here, is build a studio to employ a lot of people. He purchased a lot of apartments. I got to get better detail. I want to get this correct. And he makes real money now. He does. He's an entrepreneur. He makes real money. I talked to him for 30 minutes. He didn't catch me off guard. There's some. He didn't catch me off guard running against Houston Gaines. He gives his reasons why. But and then you have. There's 3 candidates in this race. And the online Athens, Ryan Millsap's political party, all right, Millsap is running as a Republican, hoping to succeed Mike Collins in Georgia's 10th congressional district. Collins is currently running for the Senate. Ryan Millsap's political platform, echoes other hard right candidates. So we're hard right candidates, hard right. Calling himself a political outsider, a MAGA warrior. In a recent released video, he went on to say he's dedicated to stopping the radical left and wants to remove every illegal alien, pass national voter ID law, banning hormone therapy for children, and stopping the communist takeover of our country. Now, I will tell you this. I talked to the guy for 30 minutes today, maybe even longer, and this is his platform. I mean, he's got a video out there. I'm always cautious to quote something, but he's got a video out there I played the other day where, he says some of the reference, it's time to punch him in the face. All right, I get it. So he's very bold. And I will say this, he did commit to me that he is putting the $4 million in. Now immediately, Houston Gaines has a website up called Ryan Millsap, California moderate, anti-Trump Democrat donor with racist past. That's Ryan Millsap. This is a website. They call it Malibu Millsap. This is an attack. Now, I'm going to tell you something about these websites. All right. Paid for by Gaines for Congress. That's at the bottom of the website. I wanted you to see that Houston Gaines is paying for this website. I believe very strongly in freedom of speech, freedom of expression. You're free to do this. But there's a side where truth in advertising, right? Freedom of manipulation, mistruth, misguided. I'm a firm believer in freedom of speech. You know that. And you know I love the conversation, and I love when you guys push back on the program. Doesn't bother me at all. But these websites pop up, and they'll crop a little piece here and a little piece here. They'll tie them together, and the next thing you know, it has a candidate looking like they're the worst person to have ever lived. I'm a little concerned about some of these websites that go up. Now, Houston Gaines is nervous. So they've got Turning Point coming in. And Turning Point looking forward to welcoming J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk. Hold on. Anytime I hear Erica Kirk, I just have to. All right, so Turning Point, Houston Gaines looking forward to welcoming J.D. Vance and Miss Erica Kirk to Athens. Turning Point continues to do incredible work, inspiring the next generation of conservatives. This is his political career. And it's like I was telling somebody this morning, if your political career is what you base your house payment, your car payment, right? If it's what you pay your bills, college tuition for your children, this should not be your job as in a political career, all right? Now, our founding fathers, we went way out there on how we do it with benefits and retirement plan. There's no way the founding fathers of this country would ever dream that we would put a retirement plan in place because there would be members of Congress that turned it into their livelihood and their career and their job for 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 years. There's no way they would have ever agreed to having something where you would have a retirement plan. I'm serious. It's your founding fathers intended for you to get compensation, much like you get. And I understand someone's going to say, "Really? That's not a good parallel comparison." But much like when you get called to jury duty, you're doing your duty, your civic duty, and you get called to jury duty, and you get so much a day to be on the jury, which we know that's not really a supplement for your job. But same thing here. I mean, you're supposed to go up there. You're supposed to have one session of Congress, right? Come back home, get back to work, whatever you're doing. That being said, Turning Point continues to do incredible work. The next generation. That's why I'm excited to welcome Turning Point USA to town. and why I'm deeply honored to have their endorsement. That's Erica Kirk. I get all teared up when I know Erica Kirk's coming to town. I'm sorry. All right, so here you go. And all this is yes, Vance is visiting with Erica Kirk in the 10th District. They're going to be over at UGA, and they're actually going over there to do a rally because Ryan Millsap is going to put the $4 million. So what I want to do is I want to save... There's 3 candidates over there. And I actually told Mr. Millsap this today. I said, I don't want to get this wrong. I said, I like the plumber. I really do. There's a guy running who is a plumber. These are the 3 candidates. Let me get this up here. Make sure this is the 10th district, because I'm not telling you who to vote for, but I will tell you, don't vote for Houston Gaines. But you have Jeff Baker. Go look him up. I call him the plumber. I think that's his career. He's a plumber, and I'm not making light of it. I'm okay. Everybody needs to know a plumber. I'm just telling you right now. Yes, this could be your way to, hey, I know a plumber. He's also my congressman. But Jeff has a great story. He puts it out there up front, and he is in the race. There's 3 candidates. So that's the 10th district. And I don't want to lose it to, where am I at here? I don't want to lose the 10th district to Houston Gaines. I'm telling you. Now, I'm running out of time. I don't have time to do the 11th district. We'll hold the 11th for tomorrow, the 9th and the 14th. We got the 1st and the 10th. We're going to look at it further. So if anything in the 1st district or the 10th district that we've worked on today, let me know, okay? Let me know. We'll stay there. So I'm going to give you a quick reminder. They passed yesterday. Let me say this. President Trump, and I'm going to say this in the nicest way I can put it. I'm very serious. I'm going to put it very nice. Scoreboard on every street, gas heads for $4 per gallon. President Trump, I said yes, he's got about 2 more weeks. I mean, Joe Kent resigning, running to Tucker. I'm not going down that road right now. President Trump has about 2 more weeks. I'm telling you. We are pushing the $4 point where I'm at, where I live. We're pushing that way. Once we go over that $4 mark, or we hit that $4 mark, I'm just telling you right now, the recovery. President Trump cannot get out there in the midterm. They're ready for it and say, look, you got this much back in tax money, or you're not paying tax on X, or this came down at the grocery store. Because trucking companies are right back. Trucking companies are right back to fuel surcharges. Yes, they are. So I'm telling you now, he's got about 2 weeks. Now, that being said, yesterday, this troubles me because I can't stand when people get all excited over something. Okay, so in the state of Georgia, once again, with our campaign stunts that we pull, no state motor fuel taxes for 60 days. The Senate passed it. The House passed it. No state motor fuel tax for 60 days. And the masses cheer. This is what gets me. But what they never talk about, I talk about it. I've talked about it for years. I talked about it when it went in place. When you see "you are correct," I like to do that. I like to go to AI and ask it a question I know the answer to. Because I always love for AI to start out, "you are correct." It's my favorite part. If you're not going to tell me, one, I love it when AI says you're correct. Just saying. So, no gas tax for 60 days. Oh, bravo. Oh, bravo. They're just amazing down there. Why, they are amazing under the gold dome. Why, Brian Kemp and Marty and the girls and John Burns up in his perch and Bert up in his perch, looking down on us peasants out here. Here's some pennies. Here's some more pennies for you. Here's $500. Here's $250. Boom. I don't know what happens. Whatever you do, don't ask me what happens. I don't know what happens. But here, look at this. You are correct. House Bill 170. You may not remember that one. House Bill 170 passed in 2015. It's frequently cited as one of the largest tax increases in Georgia history. While the state is currently moving to suspend the tax for 2026 to provide relief, in 2015, law fundamentally changed how Georgia's infrastructure is funded. Here is the context of that bill was so significant and why it is remembered that way. The Transportation Funding Act of 2015, HB 170. The goal, to generate $1 billion a year in new revenue. New revenue. And you people think they're going to get rid of the property tax. And you people really think they're going to get rid of the state income tax. Why, brother, you just keep cheering. Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. Okay. I won't say it. I'm not going to call anybody a dumbass. I'm not going to do it. I will not do it. I refuse to say anyone that is cheering for that is a dumbass. I won't say that out loud. All right, moving right along. $1 billion. The shift, it replaces the old hybrid tax, a 7.5 cent excise tax plus 4 cent sales tax, with a single excise tax of 26 cents per gallon. Let's see. The revenue in the first year of the bill boasted state collections by nearly $900 million. So, just saying. Now, something else on that bill, before we close for the day, something else on that bill, don't forget that it put EVs, $200 annual registration fee for non-commercial EVs, hotel motel fee, a new $5 per night fee on every hotel room stay in the state. Heavy truck fee, new annual fees ranging from $50 to $100 for commercial trucks. Now, the reason I bring this up, all right, and I'll look you in the eye. I'm the only one. Now, there's some people around the state that are doing some good work on some other things. Now, the lawnmower man needs to get on his lawnmower and ride his lawnmower around, okay? But there are some people, and then you got the grifters that just throw stuff out to see if it'll stick on social media. There's other people that are working on good things that are not in my lane. I don't have time to do, and I respect that. They know who they are. But this right here, I'm the only one in the state that calls this out. Only one. Only. If I could spell it, I'd spell it. O-N-L-Y. Is that how you spell it? Only. That would be me. Just like AI. You know how AI says you are correct? Go ahead. Let me hear it. You are correct. I'm correct. Only one. Now, the reason I bring this up and I'm getting really wired about it is because, look at the new fees. Now, when HB 170 in 2015, 11 years ago, the highest tax increase, right? To raise new, right? $1 billion in new revenue. Out of your pocket, Jack. And then you would go around and you would have the audacity, can't spell that one, but you'd have the audacity to say, I don't even know if I'm using it in a sentence correctly, but you'd have the audacity to say, what? Oh, they're going to, you go on, the grifters go on there. Oh, John Burns. Oh, the State House. Oh, they're going to end Georgia homestead property tax. Yes, they are. And they're going to replace it with new fees and new ways to raise revenue. Every damn person that goes to the pump in Georgia since 2011 have been paying their new revenue. And then you got your new fees, electric, a hotel tax. Well, how can we raise money? Well, let's just go from $5 to $8 on the hotel. They'll be okay with that. Another $3, what would it hurt? Right? This will show you right here. I can uncover these things on a daily basis. Now, I did two. I want to go with this, and we got to close. I did two segments back to back. And I know exactly why this right here, right? Remember Rick Jackson, right? I was there the day he came down his glass elevator, spending $30 million, and flipped the Georgia race upside down. Now, I can't totally blame it on him, right? But at the same time, before he got into the race, there was still models that said lean Republican. Now, I've never been that confident that the 2026 election would go to a Republican in a gubernatorial race, right? Never that confident. But it was in the lean red. Now, when this guy comes down the glass elevator, I was there, and he's got $30 million invested, and he's trying to convince you he's MAGA. Just go to our two Substacks. Go to the $1 billion pivot. There's two of them. $1 billion pivot. And you'll see one title and you'll see a second title. Last 2 days, we break it all down. Now, that being said, President Trump, you got 2 weeks. So that being said, this is Larry Sabato. Now, I don't think Larry Sabato is the guru and the end all, but he has the Center for Politics. I think it's University of Virginia. I think it's University of Virginia. The Center for Politics, Larry Sabato. And he's got a crystal ball. They call it his crystal ball. And he says that he's now moved Georgia to a toss-up. The yellow right there. Georgia is yellow because it's been moved to toss-up. So let's go here. Now, in 2022, Governor Kemp comfortably re-election victory stood out in the gubernatorial cycle that was at best mediocre, I think it was, for his party. With Kemp's term limited, both sides have competitive primaries. On the Republican side, May 19 is a crowded field. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones with Trump's endorsement. And then you have Rick Jackson, the latest entry, with the $30 million, his ability to self-fund, and then you have Chris Carr and Brad Raffensperger, and then you have the Democrat side. with fluid primaries that each could extend to runoffs, because they will. Both of them will go from primaries will go to, I had it here yesterday. The primaries May 19th. The runoff will be June 16th. Keep in mind every single thing that we have that is screwed up in our elections, everything. Republicans have held the governor's office, the state house, and the state senate since 2005. Do the math. So everything from 2005 to now that you think is wrong that we could have corrected, Republicans had the chance. So all these runoffs, now you may argue this, I'm a plurality man. Plurality, I think I have that correct. I even think I'm using it correctly in a sentence, meaning that once the election's over, it's over, whoever gets the most votes. Go look it up. J.D. Vance became, this is the top of my head, let's see what I got. J.D. Vance became the senator of Ohio. Go check it out and see if I'm right. 36% with all the other. I think he got 36 or 31. There's an option. Go 36 or 31, just in the brain. That being said, that's what I believe in. But with these runoffs, okay? With these runoffs, with fluid primaries, and each could extend the runoffs, the open seat in the marginal state seems a little more up in the air than when we first looked at it. So it's up in the air than when they first looked at it. So it's been moved to toss up. Now, is that what, I'm going to ask, is that what Rick Jackson always wanted? Is the state to move to toss up? Now, I don't know, because I have been very open on this. Until he answers the question, I'm still wondering in my gut, because this is a longtime friend, Jeff Duncan, who is running as a Democrat for governor, all right? Longtime friend of Rick Jackson's. Last two segments, I went into great detail. Now that this is a toss-up state, as they call it, is the door opening wider for a Jeff Duncan with Rick Jackson in the race. Now, don't forget, we're going to go here before we close. Where do I have it? I have it. I know I do. So today, on the floor of the House, remember, on the Senate, remember, Burt Jones, Lieutenant Governor, presides over the Senate. And remember, we have showed you where he has no bid, no contested contracts where state agencies have sent Rick Jackson $1 billion. So I'm gonna show you the tweets first. Rick Jackson's healthcare firm. I got to go to this one first. This is the first one. So Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones took a rare step and used a Senate speech to take aim at Rick Jackson, his top GOP rival for governor. He's pushing legislation that aims to bar candidates like Jackson from running for statewide office if they have state contracts. Okay? Now, Rick Jackson, let's go to this one here. Rick Jackson's healthcare firm have roughly $1 billion in state contracts. Now, Jackson still has these state contracts. And Jackson Healthcare is run by Shane Jackson, his son. So the question I have, and I think he should answer, is did they suspend the contracts Jackson Healthcare with the state while he's running. Did he voluntarily do that, or are they still receiving money from the state while he's running? Just saying. Many approved under Kemp's administration. He said if he's elected, those business dealings will stop if he's elected. If he's elected, they'll stop. But if he's not elected and Jeff Duncan is elected, they won't stop. And I can't say that for Brad Raffensperger, but I feel that in my gut for Jeff Duncan. This is big. $1 billion is nothing to sneeze about. Jackson's campaign, when asked, Jackson's campaign says Jones is unhinged. Burt Jones knows the walls are closing in on his corrupt behavior, so now he's melting down on the Senate floor and telling more lies. Thankfully, Burt's political career will soon crash out like he did. Daddy's baby needs a bottle and a nap. Okay, all right, if that's the way you want to sound like that, that's okay. But I will tell you this. Him becoming unhinged. Now, I've got 2 days, and I'm not taking sides in this. This is just facts. I look you in the... This is all about you. This is not about Rick Jackson, Burt Jones, me liking someone. This is about you, the voters, actually getting the truth and the facts. Rick Jackson has received from state agencies $1 billion, mostly from the Kemp administration. If you go to my 2 days of my Substack that I put out, 2 days in a row, the $1 billion pivot, you will see Jackson has given no money to our side, what we would call our side, and Jackson gave most of his money to Brian Kemp, Jeff Duncan, and Brad Raffensperger. And Jones is coming unhinged. So this is 4 minutes long. I'm going to play it. Okay? I'm going to play it right now. And then we'll wrap up the show. This is Burt Jones' speech on the floor today.
That we are trying to be accommodating, and we are trying to, doesn't matter what party affiliation you have or whatever it might be, we're trying to be that we are trying to be accommodating, and we are trying to, doesn't matter what party affiliation you have or whatever it might be, we're trying to be mindful of everyone's needs and wants in their districts. Now, when that bill leaves here, it goes to our state agencies. And our state agencies should take the same responsibility of minding the people's business the best they can. But I don't think there's any secret. It's been brought to light here recently that we've had vendors who have been taking advantage of our agencies to the tune of over $1 billion in non-bid funds. No bid funds. On the healthcare arena at that. Something that we talk about all the time, about affordability, about hospitals in rural and metro Atlanta not being able to keep its doors open because of cost and personnel. So when I look at vendors who are taking advantage of loopholes that have been offered through the agency, we're going to close those loopholes this week. I can assure you that. And but it does really kind of disgust me that you have one private company that's used taxpayer dollars to basically triple the cost of health care in this state. Atlanta Medical would still be open. Rural hospitals would still be open because they all point to the cost of personnel in health care. So that needs to be said, and it needs to be recognized because it's happened right up under our noses. And if we want to allow other vendors to take advantage, which I'm sure there's others that need to be held accountable, but I don't believe there's one that touches as many people as in the healthcare industry. And so I don't mind calling out Jackson Healthcare for being the culprit of our healthcare costs in this state more than tripling when you allow a private entity to be monopolizing an industry like they have. So when people ask me, how do you fend off so much money being thrown at you, I say it's hard to defend that somebody has the keys to the treasury. And that's what we've allowed to happen in this, not this body, but we've allowed it through the agencies and not holding our agencies accountable. So when you look at wanting to run something like a business, you got to count every penny, and you got to count every penny, and the dollars will take care of themselves. And you have to hold everyone accountable in this room, the next chamber, and the ones who are in charge of running your state government. So I just want to remind everybody, when you have these wish lists, if you're unable to get what you need for your constituents, think about the waste that has gone on the last several years that has made that possible and made it impossible for you to get necessary resources to your communities. Because every one of you in here have sent in a request. And so I think as we move forward, just be mindful that we hold each and every one of us accountable, because we're here on the taxpayer's dime, not on your dime, not on somebody else's. We're here to represent the people of the state and put forth the best policies, but also put forward the best way to spend their money. And it isn't by monopolizing private entities with property taxpayers' money. So thank y'all very much. I appreciate the point of personal privilege.
Now, as the Senate, as the Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, now senators and Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, they can take points of personal privilege. They're allowed to do that on the floor. And I will say this. The one thing that is, like, no matter how you look at it, I'm just telling you right now, Jackson Healthcare, no bid contracts, and got $1 billion. Now, keep in mind, in 2018, when Governor Kemp went in office, okay? When 2018, when Governor Kemp went in office, the lieutenant governor at that time, where these contracts started, was Jeff Duncan. Jeff Duncan. So when Rick Jackson says Brian Kemp called him in COVID, you don't think this guy was in the office during COVID? Jeff Duncan? You don't think Jeff Duncan, in his 4 years from 2018 to 2022, helped in any way whatsoever get those contracts? Just saying. That's a lot of money. So I don't think, as a point of personal privilege, I think it's worthy to ask the question. Now, I've always asked, before I close, I've always asked, what was the deal? There was a deal made in Valdosta between Brian Kemp and Donald Trump, and you know it, and I know it, and the American people know it. Here's an interesting, I never thought I would do this. Yes, never thought. John Fetterman. Yes, and here it is. John Fetterman saves Mark Wayne Mullins. Mark Wayne, you got two first names. Mark Wayne did it together. Mark Wayne. You cross Mark Wayne, he'd jump up, kick your ass. Bring it on! I'm just saying. All right. So anyway, John Fetterman in the committee, it was a vote down party line. And Rand Paul, I mean, he's the chair of the committee for Homeland Security, Mark Wayne Mullen, right? DHS, Department of Homeland Security. And Fetterman, right there, he's the guy that voted to save the day. Just saying. So let me go here, take that down. We're going to go into the other districts. Please send me anything in your district, because what I'm getting at is I don't want to lose all these districts to the establishment. I really don't. I don't want to lose them to the establishment. I mean, we cannot continue to send swamp creatures to the swamp, especially when they grow up in the swamp. Now, as far as all of these races, nothing will. I ponder, I study, I read, and I find things interesting. Meaning, I studied the Rick Jackson campaign for over a month. I found some things very interesting, worthy of looking at. Same thing in the 1st District. Same thing in the 14th District. All right? Property tax. So I want to say this to you, and remember, this is not to any politician. They watch. Oh yeah, they pay attention, okay? But no politician out there, this is to you, and it's not arrogant. I want to be very clear. This is not arrogant. I do not get up in the morning wondering who likes me. I don't. When I get up and I get that cup of coffee, and I say good morning to my dogs, and we make a decision which dog can go out first, right? I check to see if my dog's got water. That whole entire point of getting my day started, at no time do I say, I don't know if I'll do this story because someone may not like me. Or if I do this story, someone will get upset. Or if I do this story, it's very, very powerful people and they'll attack me. Just a chance I'm willing to take. Because you know what? No matter who's in the story or who it involves, when you get a chance to do the right thing, you do the right thing. And that's the focus of this show. It really angers people when they find out they can't buy a narrative here. And it does anger politicians. I'm not going to say anything happened, but it angers politicians when they can't buy, water buckets and have me carry them saying, hey, will you take this much money to come on your show every day and pretend like I'm the best in the race? It angers them. I'm not making a lot of money. This is the way I make money. You can donate money. You can donate that $1 million you wanted to donate, find somewhere to put it, or that $50,000, $30,000, or that $29.99. I feel like Ron at Ronco. $29.99, 3 easy payments. That's why I loved Ron Popeil. He invented what? The 3 easy payments. Seriously, I love marketing. So we'll do it in 3 easy payments, but you can sponsor. You can go to our Substack and sponsor. You can ask me how to send money, but you can't buy a narrative because we're not grifters. I probably could refrain from saying this, but we've pissed off the best. I'll see you tomorrow. Adios.
What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see, when the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host BKP.